are engaged, are excited, are energized by purpose, by vision. So that's one. I will show you a video about company. Have you all heard of Tom Shoes? Probably not. Tom Shoes is the fastest growing shoe company in the world today. But they charge twice as much as Reebok and Nike. Their shoe price. Twice, sometimes 3 times. But they're still the fastest growing shoe company. Now watch, I'll show you this clip for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. As you watch this clip, start to think about what is the purpose of this shoe company, and then what's the purpose of Nike and Reebok, and why is it that this company wins and Nike and Reebok don't win. Okay?
When I went down to Argentina, the idea was to play polo, drink some red wine, have some fun, clear my mind. Where the polo farms are in Argentina are also very close in proximity to a lot of very impoverished villages and areas where people are living on the bare minimum. And it didn't take long before I became kind of curious as to why these people didn't have the modern or normal conveniences that we grew up having in the United States. And I thought it was so interesting that they were doing a shoe drive, meaning that no one had shoes and that they were having to go get old shoes and get people to donate shoes. And when I heard about this, I said, well, I want to go see this. I saw lots of kids that had shoes that were totally tattered, too big, too small, no shoes at all, walking around. And when I saw that, and I saw that all they were doing is trying to go around Buenos Aires and get people to collect old, nasty shoes to give them, I really didn't think that was a good solution. And that's when I came up with the idea of Tom's. What if I started a shoe company, and every time I sold a pair of shoes, I gave a pair away? And that way, as long as I continue to keep selling shoes, these kids will have shoes for the rest of their life. And so we called it the Shoes for Tomorrow Project. I remember I was flying back on the plane from Argentina with that idea and deciding if I was going to come back and do Tom's. And it was like there was only one real option for me. How could I look back and say I met these kids that didn't have shoes and I had an opportunity to help them and I didn't? And just started asking lots of questions, went to a lot of people who made literally alpagatas in their garage and started asking questions. And I remember they all thought I was crazy when I told them I was going to sell the alpagata in the United States. They're like, no one is going to buy this. You have Nike, you have Reebok, you have all these amazing companies. Why would you want to buy an alpagata? And I made 250 pairs because that was how many kids were in the village. And I put them in 3 duffel bags and I went back to the United States. Next thing I know, on the cover of the calendar section is Da Vinci Code and Tom Shoes. Before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we had sold 2,200 pairs on our website. And I only had 120 in my apartment. Well, I knew what I had to do. I had to go back to Argentina and make some shoes. We were so excited that we sold 10,000 pairs of shoes. Now's the time to go back to Argentina and make good on our promise that every pair we sell we're going to give one away. Now, a lot of people think that when you say a shoe drop, that means you're just dropping off the shoes. That's not the case. We actually hand place every single shoe on the children's feet. And that's so important. It's a huge part of our brand because that connection that you have with that child, it not only gives them a shoe and gives them a great feeling of love and warmth and experience, but it also gives back to us. And that is really what has caused the employees of Tom's and our volunteers and our interns that want to work so hard as they have that experience where they give away those shoes. And that changed your life. And it changed my life. I mean, when I came back from the shoe drop, I basically said, this is it. I'm investing all my money, all my time, all my energy in Tom's, and I'm going to build this into one of the most successful, profitable, and charitable shoe companies in the world. So literally, in less than a year, we've gone from 4 interns and myself, working out of my apartment to 8,000 square feet of office space, professional warehousing systems, some of the best, shoe designers, shoe salespeople in the industry, and we're going to give away 200,000 pairs of shoes this year. In a sense, by creating a one-for-one model with Tom's, we have created our never-going-away benefactor. That's the reason why I spend as much time hiring great people in the fashion and shoe world. And that's why we have to charge a premium for our shoes so we can have this money. Because if we don't design great shoes, we can't continue on our promise. So that's another reason why it has to be a for-profit business.
you look at this, why can't Reebok and Nike copy this? Easy to copy, right? Just give out one pair, one give free. Easy to copy, right? But if they copy, nobody will still buy Reebok, right? Why? Because, right? You see the purpose, right? And a lot of people are willing to pay double the price, even though they get the same quality shoe. Purpose is very powerful. And that's number one. Then the second part is self-realization. How many of you know this guy? Anyone met him? No. Adolf Hitler. Why was... he almost succeeded in doing what he's trying to do. But do you know the history? You know what Adolf Hitler was very good at? What was he very good at? Ordering people around. Was he a person giving speech? Actually, he was lousy. He was an introvert, very scared of people. He very scared of people. That's why you watch Indiana Jones, all the movies about Adolf Hitler. He always, then he like, he's not like just American general, rah-rah, using emotion. He's very introverted. Okay? If you know the history of Adolf, in fact, if you go to BFM, you can download a podcast on him. I studied him a little bit, and it was very interesting to find Adolf Hitler early on in life. You know what? This is what he did. He tried to go into politics, and he tried to have this revolt. And he created this thing called the beer revolt or something. He created this revolt, and the government at that time, in Germany they practiced ISA, so they took him and they dumped him into prison at that time. So he went to prison and he thought, okay, because he's a writer, he used to write a lot of books. And people read the books and then they come to him, Adolf, great book, great book, great book. So he thought like he had a lot of fan club, He thought a lot of people love him, A lot of people like him. So he was put in prison, and you know what happened when he was put in prison? Nobody come and rescue him. He was stuck there. He looked outside, no fan. Nobody come and organize riot, and nothing. Adolf was just stuck in prison for a few years. And then he's sitting in prison, he says, hey, actually, the reality sinks in. He thought he's up there, He just needs to organize a few things. He can become president or prime minister, and he can take over Germany, the Führer at that time. But suddenly he realized, actually, I'm nobody. Nobody cares about me. They say good article, good book, but that's about it. So at prison, he started to devise a plan. Why is it that nobody follows me? And he says the reason why nobody follows me is because every time they meet me, they talk to me, they say, oh, what a clown. Because he cannot talk. He's so introverted, so nervous. So he devised a plan. Okay, when I get out of prison, I'm not going to show my face to anybody. I'm not going to show my face. Once every few months, I'm going to come out and do a speech. But in those few months, every day for 8 hours, I'll practice the speech. I practice where to stand, where to shout, where to what. And if you YouTube Adolf Hitler, you see in German, wow, very impressive, his speech. Not because he's good at doing speech, because he practiced. But every time people read the article, wow, and then he said, I'm going to write more articles. Read the article, wow, this speaker is a very good writer. Wow, very good article. Then once a few months they see, wow, good speaker, good article, good speaker. Wow, I want to follow. He built a following. Then he did step 2, step 3, and so forth. But it's important, many of the best leaders, they went to jail, or they went to, Steve Jobs spent 3 years in India. They took some time. Idris Jala, he does this, he goes swimming, he goes to reflection. He calls it reflect action. They take time to reflect. And they take time to action. You look at the business leaders, Jack Welch, they went through miserable points where they got fired, or they lost something, or the business went bad. Steve Jobs got fired from the job. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he started. You know what he did when he got fired? He took time to reflect and say, actually, where am I in terms of my vision? And that's the best. You got to take time to reflect, and then you start to realize, actually, where am I in relation to everything else? So that's number 1. Number 2, the last part is learning. Okay, now this is the part. Now, how do we learn? By going for class, right? Okay, anyone here don't know how to swim? Anyone here don't know how to swim? Surely got one person. Don't know how to swim, Okay, so we got 3 people. So we asked Intan to organize a swimming class, okay? Teaching you. So we bring Ian Top, the best swimmer in the whole country, or the whole world. He comes in, he sits here like me, stand here, talk, give you lectures, show some videos about swimming. 3 days, he lecture you, show you all the strokes. Like that. After 3 days, can she swim? But she went through very good course by the world's best swimmer on how to swim. Still cannot swim.